I want to say that I think that you did an absolute excellent job bringing in their background knowledge from your previous lessons. And that was my question that I had for you earlier before we even started. And the way that you worked through your questions. So I wrote down every single question that you asked because I was interested in the process and how you asked and some of the students' responses, and they just built off of each other.
Well, in that moment, she was assessing their knowledge and basing that on and creating a new question so they could explore and get to the right answer.
So 2 things are going on. Well, probably a lot more than 2, but I'm going to write formative assessment. She's not activating background knowledge anymore. She's what?
I think that it is very evident in the room that behavioral expectations are happening and have been happening since the beginning of the year because of what happened when they all went back to their groups. It's like maybe the group learning was a different situation, but they worked in some sort of group. They worked independently.
So I need the observables.
I was listening to one of the groups, and I think it was Obed and Jacobs, and they were saying Obed should decide. He's the mayor. Let's raise our hands and let's, if you agree. So they made a compromise.
Yeah, that's a good.
And problem solved. They're raising their hands. I thought that was really.
Her roving wasn't always to say something or doing. Sometimes her roving was listening in and seeing what the kids are saying, and she had no interaction at all. Sometimes she might leave with something, oh God, that was a great thought. But they were able to facilitate themselves within the group that she didn't need to really interact or facilitate questions.
Scaffolding, that's from Vygotsky, Zone of Proximal Development.
All kids can learn difficult material, but I thought that poster in our class yesterday was just brilliant. We had one of our teacher candidates draw a picture of kids trying to look over a fence. And the shortest little kid needed a high stool. And the tallest kid didn't need any stool. And the middle-sized kid needed a middle-sized stool. But they could all look over the fence to watch the soccer game. Brilliant representation.
So I think that in some cases we do want to... Did everybody hear what she just said? Everybody hear that? And make them say it again. And then, I mean, I know time constraint was a real issue, but thinking about your voice in summary and their voice in summary and getting their voices to be loud and clear so
We're reading their cards. I thought I heard a lot of voices all at the same time. So it kind of goes back to that listening piece, if they were listening to each other or if they were more concentrating on what was on the card. And
Too is, and you came back to it and asked them, like, okay, so what does the mayor do, what does the city council do, and everything like that. But I thought it would have been interesting to ask kids that were not the mayor or not the city council to check to see if they were listening.
A few times I noticed the feedback that you give to when they're be sharing this is at the end, you just say, good, good, good. I think that's good, but you could say something like, I really enjoyed, or just elaborating more and pulling from those positives on what they did.
Receiving feedback from 6 people instead of from just 1 or 2 people.
It's not it's like overwhelming, but good overwhelming.
Okay.
Because things that I would not see or even think twice about, it's like, it's amazing to hear the things that you guys saw and what you thought were really great. And then even when it comes to feedback, I am so hard on myself when it comes to feedback. So hearing different ideas is just really great. I mean, I take that feedback right away and I use it. So I really appreciate the feedback. And even just those positives, I don't focus on those positives. So yeah, it was really great. But at the same time, the groups of 4, they, sometimes they were having a hard time agreeing on something, but then there was always this one student, okay, well, what do you want to do? Let's talk about what you want to do. Or when I gave them that 5-minute mark, I heard one student say, we're not going to get this done. And my other one said, oh yes, we are going to get this done. We're going to finish this. And as soon as she said that, I was like, we're working together, we're having a hard time, but you're problem solving. And that's what we're doing. We're not just teaching, we're teaching them how to be good citizens in our classroom. And they could take that outside of the classroom. So, I mean, I was very excited about that.
Okay.
Okay, just getting to see it through a different perspective was really important to me. I mean, that's pretty much it.
I guess I would have to agree with you because we've been watching our CTs, and now that we actually got to see, you're obviously a step ahead of us, but that's where we're heading. And it was a really good look into the future, and like I want to be able to pull off everything she just pulled off, and it was good to see it, having that opportunity.
I think also just what we've learned from our classes and seeing it put into practice. I mean, that was really important to see also.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of cool to see when we've been in the same classes how somebody else will utilize certain aspects and compared to how I'll utilize certain aspects of what we're learning in the classroom, and just kind of see how it all comes together. And also it's really cool to see a different teaching style, and especially a peer, because we don't obviously get to observe peers at all very often, and so it's just kind of cool to see.
And that remains
everything.
limited all your career. And so you have to fight for those opportunities. Principal, can I please go and visit this classroom? I want to go visit this classroom. And I think that last week of your internship is like, take those opportunities to look at that.
I just thought it was interesting to like analyze the unintentional and think about what we didn't see, like behind the scenes, like how did you get where you were today and that kind of stuff. So I appreciated that.
But it's always interesting for me to watch through your eyes about how you're watching a peer, and then what you're taking away from what you're learning, in your university classes and bringing it forth.